I need to figure out how to get this stuff up. How do I get to it? You guys. You guys. I just am floored. I told you, have you guys seen my video from this morning? Did anybody see my video? Because they sent me the docket, baby, and it is tea. It is tea. Share this. Let's get people here. I'm going to show you all. Let's all go through it. You saw it? Did you see it already? I did make a TikTok video first. I don't know why. It's just my habit to like feed the TikTok first. You guys, this is absolutely insane. This is insane. Insane. Download the whole dang thing. Okay, I'm putting it right here. Breaking news, guys. So if you don't know, let's pull up. I just hopped on the live. I know people don't do this on YouTube like this, but this is how I roll, baby. This is how we do this. We do it live. We do it right here. We're here. We're in here. We're ready to go. We're going to share this screen right here. Do you guys, boop. Apparently I've got to add it to the stage. I'm going to add another, cancel that. Do you guys see him? Do you remember this story? Do we remember this exclusive story? The call is coming from inside the house. How do I pull up? I want to show you the actual document. Let me get the PDFs. Perfect. Upload it from my computer. Upload a file. Great. Let's do that. Open. Okay, you guys. 62 of you. We're going to just do this. We're going to do the dang thing. We're going to add this to the stage. Hi. So I went ahead. My name is Katie. I went to, hi from South Africa. You should be asleep. I went to the court hearing this morning and I heard that he was doing a diversion. So what does that mean? That means that he went ahead and diverted from what he's currently from the charges that he had. It's basically a third path off so that he doesn't have to be convicted for something and doesn't have to have something on his record. However, with that diversion comes an application, and the diversion application is where the T is at. Because in his diversion application, he writes, let's read it. Oh, it's too tiny for me to read. I'm going to pull it up bigger for myself out here. It reads, I am seeking diversion after being arrested in the press of doing my, can you guys see it okay? Let me see if I can make it bigger. Let's make it bigger. How do we zoom in on her? I don't know. That's what you're just going to have to do. So it says, I am seeking diversion after being arrested in the process of doing my job as a process server. I cannot have a conviction on my record or I will lose my private investigator license. Next, explain why you would complete it. It goes, it's very important to me to successfully complete the program in order to put this behind me and keep my PI license, as it's my livelihood and it's how I support my family. Now this, yeah, he's always been a process server, by the way, crazy. Like I confirmed that, or I looked up his licenses. He is a PI in both Kansas and Missouri. But this is number 3. This is where it's T, okay? It says, I was attempting to serve a subpoena and I went to the address and he wrote through an open gate and then he scratched out unopen and he wrote the gate. As it opened and attempted to speak to security guards in an attempt to serve the paperwork. I was never told to leave or even spoken to. Police arrived and arrested me. What do you think? How would Blake Lively have known that this guy named Justin was going to be there? If you don't know, there was a Chiefs game on September 14th. It was that Sunday at like 1:30 p.m. So Travis did play and Taylor was at the game. So he would have known that she would have been back at his house. So he just went there to serve the papers, right? But in Justin's own words, we don't even need to interview Justin. This is his own words on the application to the court in a written record. They redacted who he was trying to serve. But let's think about it. He could have been there to serve Travis. He could have been there, but it makes more sense to conclude that he was there to serve Taylor Swift a subpoena. I don't know if it was related to the deposition. I don't know, but my thought is that it was. I think that this entire story was true. I think that Taylor Swift took that story to Star Magazine and had him run it. I think Tree Payne's behind it all. I think he was the one that he's a victim of this. And yes, he was on there. I don't see how can you charge somebody for criminal trespassing, especially like this poor guy, right? Like he said he was there. It opened and attempted to speak to the security guard in an attempt to serve the paperwork. I was never told to leave or even spoken to. Police arrived and arrested me. That's it. And that got him put in court, paying all these fines, like insane, insane. So Taylor is likely pissed. She probably didn't want to do a deposition. She probably doesn't want to be a part of any of this. So Taylor is the one that called Star Magazine, not Blake Lively. I will eat my words. If I said that, I'll go back and look at my videos. But if I said that, I will eat my words. Blake, you didn't do this. It was Taylor. Taylor did this. So he wants to do the diversion if he's innocent because his options are to try and go and fight this and possibly lose, which is a risk and a gamble, right? Or he can go the diversion route, which could eventually just get rid of this whole thing and there would be no conviction on his record. He could keep his PI license. He could continue being an investigator in order to, as he said, win the support his family. It is his livelihood. Though I will say, I think he does pretty well for himself. He's got houses all over the state. He's got a lake house at Lake of the Ozarks. He's doing all right. Let's see what else is in here. Who was he serving the paperwork on behalf of? Well, as you can see here, Ocean Exploration, they blacked it out. The court did that part. Wild, huh? To protect the victim, which we understand that. So we're going to have to bleed between the lines. Who would have been there? Taylor and Travis. We don't know if anybody else was there, but we do know that there was a lot of hubbub happening at the time where Justin Baldoni wanted to get Taylor Swift's deposition, right? This is when all that was coming out. But this happened on September 14th, right? That was when the game was. This happened on September 15th. So let me work through this in my brain because we didn't get report of it. And we were in Kansas City. And I remember that was a big deal because we're like, wait, this just happened near us. And yet nobody's heard about this and nobody's reported about this locally. Yet Star Magazine, a New York magazine on the other side of the country, somehow has the scoop on this situation that happened 2 weeks ago because we didn't find out about it until like the 30th of September. Let me look. Let me go back and look. I'm going to look because there was a time. Do you know what I'm saying? No, Taylor. Well, I don't think she would put the paperwork process on herself, Ocean. I think it was at 2 a.m. because it can't, like in Kansas, there is no law against what time you do it. It is just about the time that you do it. Okay. So, let's look back. When was that? Let's find our dates. I'm not a date guru. I literally go back through TikTok of when I covered it. And then I go, oh yeah, I did that, didn't I? Ew, I hate that this is on YouTube and you're going to re-see it without me knowing that. Ew, that face will be there forever. It's fine. It's fine. September. So now we're back here. We're getting in our grilling season. I talked about Van Zandt. And then there was all the hubbub, the back and forth. But I didn't walk into the Leawood Police Department until 9/24. So September 24th, so almost 10 days after, that's when we were all talking about it. So 10 days after the incident, somehow somebody in New York City came through and found this out. I don't think that this confirms that they're besties. I think that this confirms to me that Taylor did not want to be deposed. And Justin was trying to get her deposed, or somebody was getting her deposed. Blake could have been trying to depose her. We don't know who was trying to depose Taylor. All we do know is that this guy was there to serve a subpoena for her deposition, or serve a subpoena in general. So if you guys are just now joining, hi, we're live. This morning, my name's Katie. I've been following this thing, but Justin Lee Fisher, if you guys remember a couple of weeks back, there was, we have to remove the other media. Okay, we'll remove this. We're going to add this. So if you guys are just now joining, if you guys remember this story from Star Magazine, this man delivered Taylor Swift deposition papers. This was reported on, when was that article? Where does it say? The article was September 23rd. That would have been a lot easier than scrolling through my TikToks, right? This article came out, and this was the first time any of us had heard anything about this, right? And so with that, we are now finding out. I went to the court hearing this morning. I have the new documents from the court, and this is what it says. It says, in Justin Lee Fisher's own words, he went ahead and wrote to the court, and he said, I was attempting to serve a subpoena, blank, 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 blank. I went to the address through an open gate, and then he scratched out open, and he put the gate. And then it says, as it opened, and attempted to speak to a security guards in an attempt to serve the paperwork. I was never told to leave or even spoken to. Police arrived and arrested me. So who tells you? Why didn't they just serve it to Taylor Swift's attorneys? That is a great question. That is a great question to highlight. Let's talk about this, Laney. Why didn't they serve it? Why do you think? What are your theories? Because I have my own, but I feel like I'm just projecting weird opinions. I've seen so much with all of this, you guys. I've seen so much. Taylor's lawyers were working with the way. So maybe it was Blake Lively who was trying to serve a subpoena too. And maybe that's why Taylor leaked it. But what I can confidently say out of everything that I have seen is that Taylor Swift is the one that leaked this information to Star Magazine. It was Taylor Swift. She was the one that said, she went to Star Magazine, Tree popped on over there and said, run this story. Maybe it was Blake who was trying to serve her deposition papers, but then why would it say Justin Baldoni? Well, hold up. Let's reread this headline. Man delivering Taylor Swift deposition papers for Justin Baldoni lawsuit, arrested at Travis Kelce's home. Who was trying to depose Taylor? I think it was Blake. I think Blake was trying to depose Taylor. Out of everything I know. That reads Justin Baldoni lawsuit. I don't know why they didn't serve it to her attorneys. Maybe because Blake had been blacklisted. Maybe they weren't cooperating with Blake Lively's attorneys, and they said, nope, no way. So they were like, fine, we'll just serve her a subpoena. You guys, that headline's tricky because they're calling it Justin Baldoni lawsuit for the, for the hype. Do you guys have questions? How is everybody doing here? Let's read through this. So the article said, the original article, a process server attempted to serve on behalf. Okay, well, this is where it says it. It says, attempting to serve deposition papers on behalf of Justin Baldoni's lawyers, was arrested for criminal trespassing. Star can exclusively reveal. So Maybe what I just said before this wasn't it. I don't know. This is the whole live of it all, right? What do I know? Damn, I was listening live, but you got muted in certain spots. I'm sorry. It's probably me because I don't know how to run this technology. This is only my second time on StreamYard, but this whole setup is insane. You guys are so awesome. Thank you for being here. By the way, all of my makeup is linked in the description. And then if you guys want to donate it, it just helps me be wild. So continue to make crazy videos. Taylor's never spoken on this. No, she has not. So I figure I have only shared this much as far on TikTok, but the exclusive is now going to go to YouTube. So let's go over the rest of what was given to me by the court because I've only made it this far so far. So let's talk about it. So I showed you guys his application. So let's go to the next page. It says, his diversion, by the way, going through this paperwork, you know what that tells me? It tells me that his diversion is basically like an admission of guilt. That it basically says that the court had enough evidence to charge him with the crime. Yeah. So he went ahead and signed off on all. So it's going to be a 12-month diversion. So 1 year from today, this guy is finally going to be off probation, off of everything. Damn, that's a long time. And $1,000 to just walk up. And the weird part, going back really fast, I like how, because he only had so much to include. And I'm sure his lawyer advised him on exactly what to write on here. He wrote, I was never told to leave or even spoken to. Police arrived and arrested me. I wonder how he got through the first gate. Because if you know anything about Kansas City, there's like in that Hallbrook neighborhood, it's just like there's a security gate to even get back into that area. And then I'm sure they have their own security set up outside the house, you know? So it's not just like a go through the neighborhood. It's like you literally have to, there's a main road, you get in to the neighborhood, then there's a second gate, like a full up gate, like you can't go either way without getting past somebody. And then I'm sure that there's security measures around the house and a gate around the house, right? I've never been back there, but I can imagine. But the way that everything has been sounding, it sounded like he was just went up the hill from Tomahawk Creek, like that park that's behind it. But this is a different story. So he went ahead and he signed off. He agreed to pay the $1,000. I don't think it's gonna be tough for him. Oh, whoops. Oh, that's his lawyer's address. Okay. I was like, whoops, let me get this out of here. But that's his lawyer's address. So that's not his. Everything's redacted for him. Damn. Yeah, he signed off on all that. Then let's go to the next page here. And it's promised to appear, paid fines. So he agreed that he would owe $523 in fines and costs. They give him 3 months to pay it. And if he doesn't pay or appear at any court date as ordered past then, it says if he does not pay it. So because I confirmed when I went up to the court clerk, I literally was like, hey, the 911 calls. So let's talk about this. I want to hear what the 911 caller said. Let's talk about this. That's a great way to bring it up. Lucky doe. I went to the police department after this. And if you haven't watched my previous video, who called the cops? It looks like the people, sorry, I'm reading comments and I'm getting distracted. So Lucky doe, you want to hear what the 911 caller said? So do I. I want to hear what the police said. I want to hear what the police said to Justin and what that interaction was. Because I'm sure if he was like, hey, I'm here to serve a subpoena, they'd be like, chill, bro. You know, right? You would think that we would want to be, alas, I know that a lot of people that serves like unit process servers, and you see the movies where they go, take it and like throw it at you and you're like, oh, damn it. You know, I have to accept it. It's like, I get that. You maybe don't want to interact with those people, but I went to the police department this morning and I was like, okay, so a diversion is happening. I knew that. And I was like, hey, so when a diversion happens, how does it go? Because up until this point, there is no body cam footage. There is no police narrative. We don't know what the officer said. We can see the police blotter from back then, but it just says a call went to that spot. We don't hear what the call says. We don't have a transcript of the call log. All of that is currently under lock and key because the police department at Leawood says it is an open investigation. Okay. So when there is an open investigation, I was like, well, now that he's diverting and he's basically admitting guilt, right? Not that he's pleading guilty, but he's admitting to some guilt and he's promising that he'll be good for a year, right? He's going to, I was like, surely that marks a chapter. Maybe there's some kind of process. Let's just double check. So I went over to the police department and asked the records department. I was like, hey, like, what's the process here? Like when somebody goes on diversion, does it mean that the investigation gets closed after their diversion? So say after Justin makes it the full year, is the diversion done or what? And then, does that mean that the police records would not be available until 1 year from after his diversion, right? The guy said basically once things go to diversion, that typically they just leave the investigation marked as open. And he was very direct when I spoke to him. And I could tell he was an older guy. He was kind of no bullshit. Like he was straight up like, it's the way it is, man. And I kind of was like looking at him like, I get it. He looked at me and he goes, from the way that this file reads, I can tell you that the investigation is probably going to be open indefinitely. And I said, even after the case is dismissed? And he goes, probably. And I said, well, what does that mean? Does that mean I can't get those records? And he goes, if a case is open, we're not able to provide records to the public. But once it's closed, you can. Just telling you what I was told. And I know there's a lot of people that have been in the comments saying like, you know what? That's small town, whatever. And I think, so what this tells me, there was somebody on my other video that commented it like, okay, live in a small town and they try to pull stuff like this and the police department gets in trouble. This is what will happen. I think that we are not going to get answers or any of that other stuff pretty much ever unless this gets closed sooner. Like say he decides not to pay these fines and he jumps court and then he runs, or I don't know, he gets put in jail, whatever. I don't see that happening. What I see happening here from here on out is that he is going to do his diversion program. And then December 2nd, 2026, the police department is going to end up like the courts and the city is going to close this case. They're going to dismiss everything. He's going to walk away scot-free. We're not going to have full answers on what was going on. And all of that that stuff is going to remain an open case unless somebody opens or reaches out to the Kansas AG and tries to say, hey, this police department's doing some nefarious shit. We want to see this body cam footage, which I think they're all just hoping that we just go away and it just stays quiet. Hey, yes, maladaptive malady. That was you. That's exactly it. Yes, you were the person. I wanted to answer your comment. I took a screenshot of it and I was going to take a video reply because I felt like it deserved one versus like but I'm glad we can talk about it now. I don't think it's a setup. I think it's just, think about Monica, like, I don't think it was a setup overall. I think it's literally like, imagine this guy he was there to serve papers, but you're a super celebrity, right? Taylor's got stalkers. She's got people trying to find her all over the place. Why would they approach a guy who was potentially dangerous? I can't imagine that Drew want to put himself in a nefarious position. He's just going to call the police and have them deal with it, right? So I don't fault necessarily, but it does seem like this guy kind of got the shit end of the stick. And I do 100% believe that Taylor Swift was the one that called Star Magazine. She's the one that reported it. She wanted to get the heat off of herself, or I don't know, or she didn't want to be deposed, but that is the tea. Tell your friends, tell your friends, tell your family, hide your kids, hide your wife. Because what is that? They'd be snatching up everybody out here, whatever he says. I don't do a good job of that. I genuinely feel like I'm talking to myself. For some reason, in TikTok, it doesn't feel like this, but in this little cold room, it does definitely feels like I'm talking by myself. There would be there would be body cam footage. Yeah, the body cam footage, Tanya, we do not have access to body cam footage because the Leawood Police Department has this entire situation marked as an open investigation. And the records department has told me that as long as it's marked open, there is no public access to those records. And so today they told me that it would likely be open indefinitely. But I don't think that I or anyone can kind of go after or have the state of Kansas go after the police department to close it, to get access to that stuff until after his diversion is over. So I think 12/2/2026 at the very least. So if we all still give a shit about this, then I think that'd be the time to go after it. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Hell yeah, though. Yeah, girl. You know what I'm saying. They snatching everybody out here. Okay, let me see. So this was the promise to appear fine. So the last thing I want to go over is the docket, just to show you guys what a small municipal court docket kind of looks like. Let's go. Oh, that's his arrest stuff. Okay, let's go all the way back up to the top because there's some new stuff since. So I don't know if you guys heard my thing about the victim continuance letters. So I thought that was a very interesting point because that means that on that initial report, the one that I didn't show, that I walked in and got that cover sheet for, there were 2 people that were listed on there. And initially we thought those were the perpetrators, right? Because we couldn't figure out where Justin Lee Fisher came from. Those 2 people were the people that reported this, though now I'm confused as to why is Laura Baker involved? Maybe they're friends. They could be friends because she's from Nashville. She's like a designer. So Laura Baker is Travis Kelce's neighbor. She was listed on the police report, but I'm trying to figure out why she was listed, especially if he just went in through an open gate. Seems sus, unless she was at the house. I always thought it was because Justin Lee, and this was in my own head, or maybe I read it someplace that he jumped over Baker's fence to get to Kelsey's property. Does that make sense? But now I'm gonna have to think on that. You guys can help me think too. So looking at the docket here, I thought it was interesting that they repeatedly would put in their victim continuance notification letters. I asked the court about this and I got stonewalled. I was on the phone for like an hour. This was probably back on 11/5 actually. And I asked about the victim continuance letters. I was like, hey, can I see a copy of that? Like just redact all the personal information. And they were like, no, that's not public. You can't see it. And I'm like, I thought it was weird because there were no victims listed on that initial police report. Nothing. It was just the people that reported it and where it happened. So, I thought it'd be interesting that, oh, there is a victim in this whole situation then. Who's the victim? Then you see that the attorney checked in, like I said, they continued for time to pay, so they went into that. Then he entered in a 12-month diversion, paid $500 today. So that was when he said, can you do 500? That was probably asking how much of that 1,000 they can do. Case status changed to needing action. Defendant is sentenced to probation for criminal trespass with a 12-month diversion. He made a payment and a court date was scheduled. Basically, that court date is there only if he does not pay his fine by that time. And if he doesn't, then he needs to show up on that court date and tell him why. Otherwise, he can just keep going about his life. Wow. Hi, guys from London. Oh, Ricardo, I mean. But what gate? It's a gated community. So I don't know because it was 2 a.m. I know how it works there, but I don't know what his setup is in front of his house. And if there was a gate in that situation that he went in front of. Hey, I'm currently live for anybody in the background that does not want to be on the internet. Trying to hide husband in case he doesn't want to be on the internet. Breaking news though. Guess what? I figured you guys can't. Can you see him? He's got his jacket pulled up over his head. Okay. This is the part I hate about wearing sweaters. I am heated. I'm internally cooking. You say do an FOIA request. Yeah. You, is that what? Remind me of what that acronym stands for. Okay, so that's the documents, the records. I think I showed you everything you've seen up until this point, or maybe you haven't. This is just the entire record. So this is the arrest, whatever. This is like the initial entry of appearance. I always thought it was a little funny that they put up there, not on this one. Where is it at? Oh, maybe they've corrected it by now. On one of them, they put like the city of Lenexa, and I was like, LOL, that's not the right city. It's an L word, but the Freedom of Information Act. So there is a Kansas open record. So you can't go, there is a Freedom of Information Act in Kansas. It's called CORA. And so underneath CORA, holy cow, my computer is glitching and it keeps bringing in text messages that literally I have received forever ago, and it keeps dinging. I don't know what's going on. So sorry. We don't need this slide up. But this is the T slide, and I'm distracted by that. I'm overstimulated currently. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There's so many buttons. Just the beauty of lives. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, man. Globotron. Hey, thanks for sending that link. By the way, I read through that last night. Super helpful, Globotron. Thank you. The leveling up thing that I talked about yesterday. So if anybody is just now joining me, I'll just put this a little bit bigger on the screen. This is the information that came from the docket about why Justin Lee Fisher was at Travis Kelce's house. Super interesting. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I thought it deserved a little bit of a live. Thank you all for being here and for just like, I know it's such a, I'm still learning the environment. I don't have like the whole, I'm doing a whole production here, if that makes sense, situation. I don't even have a microphone, but we're working on it. We're making the vibes, right? We're doing it. Gulf Coast Mama, go back and watch my video. That'll help. But for all of you guys that are still here, thank you so much. And if you don't already, please subscribe, come follow me. And follow me on Instagram. We're trying to figure out what that can be. I don't get it over there. It just seems like a bunch of people that are being silly, but come hang out with us, I guess. We're doing things over there too. There should be some big filings that are happening late tonight. I will likely be asleep. But I will get to them tomorrow. I have not read through the docket updates that came through last night. I was planning to do that today, but I just had to get some work done. And then this all stuff happened. So, maybe we can go to some of our other fun friends that have covered some of it and we can go over that. But thank you all for being here. Hopefully this was helpful, but big news, big news. I'm probably going to post this and then I'll post the video that I made for TikTok. Might be a little bit more concise if you're not wanting to sit through the full 35-minute live where we kind of go through some of the comments and answer some of those little questions. But Ricardo, don't be ragging on him for his handwriting. If you asked me to write a handwritten document right now, I'd be like, honestly, birthday cards, my hand hurts. I'm like, how did I write pages and pages in high school? Like, I don't even know how I did that. I remember front and back, like 18 pages for like a long essay. How did I do that? Insane. But You guys are amazing. Don't forget to like and follow if you're here. Whatever that is. If you got some hypes, love a good hype. Ooh. Oh, and if you didn't see Hugh Jackman's, it's My New Roman Empire. He's currently trying to negate his bad press with like Kate Hudson singing Sweet Caroline in a bar, and you're like, good try, Hugh. He doesn't have many cards. He's like, I can sing, I can dance. I got this lady that is kind of my girlfriend, but isn't really my girlfriend. But like, I don't know. Like, isn't that silly? I think it's silly. Okay, cool. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.